Welcome to this week's video. I thought to do something a little bit different this time, which is going to be a bit of a week in the life. Right off the bat, it's not a how to get lean or what I'm eating to get shredded. It's more of a bit of an insight into how I live my life, showing the things that would benefit the people that I know who follow me directly. So the reason why I've chosen this week is because there's quite a lot going on. There's a competition tomorrow. This morning we have posing practice. I've got 2 appointments this week, which could be really interesting to relay back with you. So one with my psychologist and one with a somatic therapist, because I'm doing some trauma healing at the moment. It can be very stigma or taboo, that kind of thing. But for me personally, you know, without that part of my life, I wouldn't be who or where I am today. Also got a bit of a meeting / interview with someone up north who I've been referred to, who owns a gym. So hear about a potential collaboration there, and then I guess just the day-to-day coaching and nutritional tips and stuff like that. So try and take the camera with me as much as I can, and hopefully you'll find it interesting and learn a thing or two. Maybe we can start this video off by introducing you to my favorite ginger baby. This is him here. He snuck out last night and he's looking for breakfast because he missed his cuddles this morning. He's a very sweet cat. Loves all sorts of attention, thinks he's a dog. And while we're on the topic of cats, we have Marley. She does not like to really leave the couch. So this is pretty much her life. Ever since I got this doona and put it on here. Would you looky here? Mr. Jasper has this cute little thing where he likes to steal Marley's spot after she's used it. And then next time she comes, she smells him and then she decides that she can't sleep there anymore. So after about 2 months of her not moving, he's finally stolen her spot. And let's see if she'll sit there ever again. Why are you so mean? He just loves attention. Cutie pie. What a cutie pie. I'm just doing my client work today, so it's check-ins. So I have maybe 3 or 4 per day during the week, and then Friday I have about 10. The check-ins basically are just photos plus a check-in form which has their adherence, like how closely they adhered to what they were given, and like weight and measurements, if that's what they're working on. It's raining and this guy just will not go away. This is what he does because I'm his favorite. It's my setup. I've got currently 47 clients. 4 are new, so 4 started in the last couple of weeks and 2 are starting next week, and then some of them I've had for 6 or 7 years, and yeah, that's pretty much my life, so I'll be here all day. So this is an example of a check-in. Started over here on a deficit, 1945 calories per day, 63 kilos. So here we just did a bit of see how we go calories. I always do that for a month just to check what the body's going to do and get an idea of maintenance. Then we went fat loss down here, and as you'll see, she's gone from 60 down to 55.6. I didn't really have to do many calorie adjustments, so she pretty much ate 1820 a day that whole time. And then at the end down here, so we finished at 54.9 was the lowest weight, and here we started adding the calories back in. So down here, so she started at 1945, lowest calories were 1820. Then she's gone to 2032 just to see how we go after the fat loss period. And then now she's about to go 2248. And we just discussed like she's maybe interested in doing a comp. So we're going to get her calories back up to 2,400. And then we're going to do another fat loss period as she thinks about whether she's going to compete. So this kind of process, it is not simple. You should not diet yourself. So yeah, that's what a check-in form looks like and a bit of a fat loss journey would look like. Just got to my nephew's ACT athletics carnival. This is pretty much just in here because I want to show them off because they're super cute.
Cool. I'm on Jax. This is really good.
Whatever's in you got?
White one sugar.
Sophia on film. I'll just show you the gym that I work at. It's really awesome. Smith machine, leg press, squat rack, belt squat, more squat racks, GHR, dumbbells, benches, lat pull downs, cardio, sled, and then best glute machine you've ever used in your life. Yeah, this is where I work during the week, where I train my clients. We have the ice baths in here, so all the really good recovery stuff. Float tank, and then we just have the compression. This is like super busy always. So true to the what I do in a week would be to show you my groceries, I guess. So I do most of my shopping at the farmer's market, and then basically I just go to Coles or Woolworths to get odds and ends. One pro tip that I like to share with people is that because I don't like to eat junk food, but I do crave it sometimes, I go to Coles and they have these little chicken mixy things. And I get this singular, well I got two actually, I ate one already, coconut rough, favorite. So I got that. One banana, protein pancakes, organic beef, avocados, coconut yogurt. So I put this on my protein pancakes. And I found this, which I haven't seen for ages. Dark chocolate with orange pieces. So I always put this on my oats. So I cook up my oats, put in the protein, and then I melt this on top. And then we got my almond milk. That's my supermarket haul. And then we have, this would not be a true week in the life if I didn't show you my terrible life admin skills. So here's a collection of bills that I have not paid. So what I do is I ignore them, I pretend they don't exist, and then when I start having a little bit too much money build up in my bank account, I go to my mailbox and I open them. So we have $1,600 due here, $700, $340, speeding fine, $335, just great. Corporation, confirmation, wildly strong, PTY Ltd, no bill there, already paid that. $14,097 due to the tax office. $7,000 due to the tax office. Ooh, a $14,000 credit from the tax office. And a $666 fine for not sending my tax in on time. So that's funny, that's the second time that's happened. Even though I don't do my tax place does it. So that's my bills, I will pay these today. And I'll be back down to a normal bank account figure. I'll see you in the next clip. So I just had posing practice with the girls who have a comp tomorrow. So it's just basically a quick check, run through their posing individually, and I'm just checking if they need more carbs or not. So the week before comp, they do what we call a depletion and a carb up. We have low carbs, low activity for the first half of the week, and then we start to add the carbs in towards the end. And what that does is kind of draw the water out from under the skin and fill up the muscles so they look nice and full. So we have Olivia, then we have Naomi. So she's actually lost about 30 kilos to get to this point. Then we have Corinne. And finally we have Nadine. So they're nearly ready. They actually all need more carbs today. So yeah, they're gonna be really happy. For this part of the video, I thought what I'm gonna do is talk about my psychologist session yesterday. So since April, I have been seeing a somatic psychologist working through some early childhood trauma. I can kind of share the process I'm going through because I thought people might find it really interesting. Basically, when you have trauma, it can kick the nervous system out of what you call this window of tolerance. So the main thing that I have to work on at the moment is to stay within this window of tolerance, because whilst in the safe window, you can actually process your emotions, and then parts of you can kind of integrate and observed and rectified. So that's a really kind of quick way of explaining it, but it's basically a safe window for your nervous system where you can operate as a whole, complete person. If you're too stressed out, like too high up in fight or flight, then you lose access to this healing sort of safe window. And if you go too low to the point where you dissociate or numb out, then now you're outside the bottom of the window of tolerance. One of the things I learned is that I spent my entire life out of this window. You know, I've always been able to push my body to ridiculously extreme lengths, and I just don't have like an off button. And the reason for that is because I'm living in a state of fight or flight, and then sometimes bottoming out into that numb, dissociated part of the window. So my session yesterday was kind of centered around what's been activated in me right now. So I actually, between yesterday and my session before, had fallen out the window. So I went up to Byron in July and did a really massive processing session. And through that, what I did was actually almost unearthed these traumatized parts. Part of the somatic psychotherapy is what's called internal family systems. And it's this theory of how we all have different parts within us, and some are more dominant than others, depending on the environment that we're kind of functioning in or living in. And when you have trauma, these parts can actually split off and become cut off and disconnected from your kind of true self. So in trauma, they're kind of locked away and you can't access them because the body's trying to keep you safe. So once you have access to these parts, they come up into your nervous system and they kind of become more apparent, like you can feel them. So as long as you stay in the window of tolerance, in that safe window, I can feel all these different parts. And my job is to actually just feel into them, to understand what they are, to make space. So the one that I'm working on at the moment is actually related to my body. So, you know, I've had like my whole life since I can remember, like a bit of a complicated relationship with my body. It's always been there. So, you know, I don't buy too much into it, but it's something I definitely want to heal. And we basically identified that that has come from my trauma. But let's just say, just as an example, so I'm not going to say I have an eating disorder. I absolutely did when I was younger, and I definitely have body dysmorphia, but I've been really good for the past probably 10 years because I eat really well, I'm active, and I'm very aware of this. So, but then now that I've kind of cracked open that trauma and this part has come up, like it's very active right now. So what was kind of stuffed down has now become back up to the surface, and I feel like I'm living in the space I did when I was younger. Part of me thinks she's fat when she's not. I look different multiple times of the day, but logically I know it's not correct. So logically I can see that I just look normal. I'm a normal weight. I'm a healthy weight. So yeah, that's kind of what I was working on. Talked about that for basically the whole session. So I've just been working on a few things which I thought I will show you so you get a bit of an idea of what I do in my free time. I've just been working on my workshop handout. So the people that did my workshop. So this is just basically a summary of all the content. So that workshop's actually still available for purchase for anyone who wants to. Then I've been planning my Instagram. So this is where I plan my Instagram content. Just because I'm super visual, I like to make sure it's really balanced. And then we have a launch. I'm going to really quickly go through. Boom, 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 boom. So this is what I am about to launch next week. Lots happening, lots to work on. I'm going to have a little bit of food now and then more work and then go to the gym. And also I've got a business call at 11 o'clock. Until about 1:30. So that happens every week and there's 3 weeks left. So I've done this 12-week course twice now just because I'm trying to get my business launched, and it's all about like the logistics of how to organize it. So pretty much everything I've been doing links back from what I've learned. I had already made all the content before I even signed up for it. I just wanted to know, how to refine it and how to best approach launching and things like that. So one thing I think people don't think about with business is it is so much trial and error, and everything is like a learning process. So, and also just when you want to grow a business, you really have to make it easy on yourself. So you have to work out ways to streamline everything, and it's actually really expensive. So there's probably about, maybe $500 a month I have to spend on making things easier for myself. And then my assistant, I have to pay for her too, of course, because she helps with a lot of stuff. I use Asana to task things with her. It's all worth it though, because otherwise you can't scale a business, right? Because this is my problem, is I've been so full since like 2012 that I just can't grow my business because I just don't have the time. So this is my planner that I have with her. So basically, this is today. So I have to film YouTube, and then tomorrow, but she has to edit the YouTube. I've got to record some meditations. She'll then edit them. She's currently working on a 15 video series for me for my website. So she's editing all of that this week. And then there's an ebook for that she's going to be doing this week. And it just kind of goes on like that. So we make a pretty damn good team, I think, and it's really helping me grow, but it's just never-ending work. So on top of that, I still today have to write 2 programs, and I have to do check-ins. All my comp girls, they need to have their calories increased. I've only done 1, so there's 3 more girls to do, and just make their reverse diet plans. So always lots to do behind the scenes. The PT is just a small portion of what makes a successful fitness business. Gonna have some food and I'll catch you in the next clip. Little update. I just spoke with someone who runs a gym up in Murwillumbah, I believe is how you say it, which is about 40 minutes northwest of Byron Bay. He's really keen to have me run my business out of his gym if I would like. Same type of, I'd say, values and ethics. So that's awesome. So that's all looking super positive. So then my next challenge for today is going to seem ridiculous, but this is a week in the life. So this is one of my actual biggest struggles of my life, which is I don't know how to calm down. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Saturday, and tomorrow I have to work all day because it's competition. I am supposed to be spending this afternoon doing something for me. If I lived like near the Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast or Byron, what I would do for me would be to go to the beach or go to a rainforest or something like that. But I can't do that because I live in Canberra. So I always struggle with what to do. So anyway, so the first task that I had, which I just did now, is my psychologist, she said that I should put a kind of self-regulation checklist on my fridge. Because the last 2 weeks I got so dysregulated, you kind of lose perception of how to self-care and get back into that window because you're out of the window. And she was saying, it can be really helpful to like write it on your fridge what you should do, because then you can refer to it and then get some logic injected back into the brain, because when you're stressed, you're not very logical. Don't get me wrong, I function very well under stress. I do a good job with it, but you can do a lot better when you're not stressed. So I'll just show you what I put together. This little diagram. What we have is signs that I am stressed, signs that I'm dissociated. So this is the hyper-arousal state, and this is the hypo-arousal state. So this is like when you're flat, and this is when you're like too far. And then I wrote down what I can do to down-regulate. Down-regulate just means to pull the nervous system back into that safe window. Good morning. I am at the farmer's market. Just arrived. 7 a.m. on a Sunday. I forgot to bring my camera, my proper camera, because I forgot I was vlogging today. So here we are with my phone. I'm gonna go in and get all of my stuff. I'll hopefully get a little bit of sneaky footage. It's actually probably better on my phone because it won't be so awkward. Yeah, I'll show you what I get.
You say you don't wanna get in trouble, that you're doing fine cause you got me. I don't wanna break your little bubble, but you gotta wake up to reality. Cause I can see in your eyes.
So I picked the worst day to take you to the farmer's market because heaps of people weren't there. So I didn't know. So the veggie guy I go to wasn't there, the cheese lady wasn't there, and like the bakery wasn't there. Sometimes I get some bread. So I didn't get that much. I actually got just my normal eggs. So this is where I get my eggs from, like nice and large. Last week I had almost every single one of these was a double yolk. So that was pretty cool. Not good if you're macroing though. And I just got some bok choy. And I got some zucchinis because I just love olive oil and salt on zucchini. Organic. I also like to grate them up and put them in my oats. Then I got mushrooms. I actually don't like mushrooms, but I like this guy's mushrooms. Then I got some carrots so I can put them in some dip. I got purple sweet potato. Well, it's purple on the inside. Pro tip. Delicious. Probably the sweetest type of potato you can get. And I've already got like broccoli, spinach and red onions pretty much. The only other stuff I get. Oh, and I got this for Spanish omelette. But usually I get from the cheese lady some like goat feta and labna cheese. That's her brand. So I do still have some from last week for my omelette. So that is lucky. So today is comp day. So I'm about to call all my clients. It's about 8:30 in the morning. Just to check how they're going and just to tell them what else they need to eat today depending on how they're feeling. In about 4 to 5 hours I'll go to comp and I'll bring my camera with me and we'll get some footage. Look at my little ginger here. He's so staunch. Look at him, look at him, look at you, look at you. I said I wasn't going to share a what I eat in a day style thing, but I'm going to share this because my camera is handy. So this is one of my favorite meals at the moment. 2 mushrooms with 20 grams of black olives, and then I put butter and sprinkle with garlic powder. And then this is just a 4-egg kind of scramble with goat's feta inside. And then this amazing bacon that I get from the markets at the moment. This is just an example of the kind of thing I'm eating at the moment. I've been having 4 big meals a day instead of 6 little ones like I was when I was bodybuilding. So.
Trust the right, don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to.
Go Nadine! Go left! Morning. I just woke up. It was kind of my typical morning. Little Jasper. So about to go for a walk. It's like 5:20. I go for a walk a couple times a week with one of my clients around the lake because her dog's a psychopath and he needs to be out while there's no other dogs out. So I've had my brekkie already. I'm just doing a little meditation, or just finished a little meditation with my little ginger friend here. And yeah, see you in the next video. Coles shop part 2. We have diced pumpkin, so good in the air fryer. 2 trays of turkey mince. So this is breast mince, very lean, very delicious. I use these together to make turkey patty. Cleaver's grass-fed organic range, delicious. So this was 2 for $17 today. So meatballs for lunch, sausages for breakfast. Cleavers, I fillet, the most tender, sweet tasting beef you could possibly get. My absolute fave, black olives, only available at Coles. Cognac noodles for my meatballs. Oh, and the sauce. That's all my Coles shopping. This is one of the things I kind of do with my clients. So like when I read books, I highlight them all and then I take notes and then turn them into a little document. So when my clients kind of grow to a certain point and they're looking for certain information, then I'll send them the book notes and they can just work their way through them, you know, without having to read the whole book. Quite often I'll end up lending them the book and they'll read the whole thing of whichever one resonates the most. But so this one's like on mind, body and trauma. So she's really wanting to get into some somatic work. And so this one's like Peter A. Levine. He's the pioneer really of somatic experiencing, which is like a somatic therapy thing. And then this one's all about mind body. He studies PTSD. This guy studies childhood trauma and its impact on health later in life. This guy studies generational trauma. And then this is kind of a very science-based book on trauma. Yeah, so I'll just send those through to her now and she can work her way through. I was going to have a nap and this is how it's turned out so far. Apparently it's a pat time for Jasper and I have to hold him up with my arm. So great. Let's hope that I can nap. Anyway, okay. Updated situation. Jerk. What? What have I done wrong, Jenny? What have I done wrong? I've got 30 minutes. I'm going to give it a crack. Nap attempt was a total fail. So now I'm just having lunch and then I'm going to do some more work. So that's what I'm having. So I've got sweet potato chips in the air fryer and then I like to have that with sour cream. And then we've got some grass-fed eye fillet with some peanut butter. That's actually a mix of crunchy natural peanut butter and powdered peanut butter because I don't want to have, 500 calories worth of peanut butter. So I just go half-half. It's kind of like satay. It is delicious. Hey, it's like 8 o'clock at night and I'm just waiting to see my somatic therapist. I'm trying so hard not to fall asleep. I'm so tired. I feel like it's last 2 weeks, actually, since my last session with my somatic therapist, because we did some really deep work. Like we're working on this kind of scenario where I can kind of go back into this early life trauma and change the outcome in a way. So when you do this type of therapy, you can kind of feel into these parts of yourself that have been kind of trapped down there since you were young. So like I can feel into my, say, 2-year-old self or 4-year-old self, and we're trying to sort of recreate stuff. So and I had a bit of a breakthrough, but following that, it's just been crazy. So I have PTSD, which I'm just trying to heal. And I've had a lot of flashbacks this last kind of 2 weeks. So it's super terrifying anyway. So yeah, I've got a somatic therapist appointment in 10 minutes and I will report back, but I have decided I'm gonna ask her if we can do something nice. So this is my setup for my session. Usually I do it in the lounge room, but I cannot. So I'm in my bedroom and I have a salt lamp because this way when I'm done I can just go to sleep. And actually heaps of my clients have been seeing my therapist as well and they're totally loving it, and it's really fascinating because we all work on different stuff. So I'm kind of doing trauma, and then one of my clients is really working on feeling into her body and getting out of her head because she's a bit of an overthinker, and then another one is going to go and do a healing retreat too soon, so she's going to be seeing her. One of my friends is seeing her and she's really learning how to like activate her feminine energy and calm her anxieties. Let's see what I can do if we focus on something nice.
Okay, so let's start with yeah, which is the first note of it. I think we actually went higher than that with the fret train exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, yeah. So maybe if you do the fret train exercise before the chorus.
Yeah.
That could be a primer as well.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3.
Yeah, that seems so strong. That speaks so long. Seems fine today.
That was great. So maybe it's just all about the prep. 2, 3.
Yeah, that seems so strong. Yeah, that speaks so long. Never been so wrong.
Yeah, we'll just pause there. That sounded rich, open, strong. What was it like for you?
Yeah, good. I got to think a lot, but yeah, it does actually. It felt fine. Singing lesson done, went okay. Unfortunately, a little bit stressed in the voice box, but that's kind of part of the process. Like one thing I've learned with my singing is that when I'm regulated, when my nervous system is really relaxed, which is, as I mentioned in an earlier clip, is what I'm really aiming for at the moment, just within my life in general. My voice is very free, but when, I'm a little bit more stressed out, I really have to think hard about the notes, especially like the what we call the head voice notes. So the ones that can't come out the chest, they have to come out kind of the top of your mouth, and they're very hard to do. So yeah, anyway, I'm pretty happy with my lesson, but it can be a lot more effortless than that when my stress level's really low. So now I'm just doing work. So I finished all my PT sessions. I totally forgot to bring the camera to my PT sessions. So I did a total of 21 PT sessions this week, and I had 5 Zoom sessions. So that's just online clients that catch up with me fortnightly via Zoom. And I've had 3 consultations. So 3 clients that are interested in doing ongoing coaching. And then tonight I have a consult for my new platform, which I've sneakily released to a couple of my clients early. Yeah, so that's kind of what my week looks like. I've finished the PT side of it and I just have a few Zoom calls left. And then now I'm just doing emails. So I'm doing check-ins and stuff like that. So for example, at the moment I've got a couple, this beautiful couple that I work with, and they've sent their check-ins and their fat loss is totally on track. So that's really great. I had another check-in come in and she decided to diet on Monday, like her fat loss period. So far can't really tell what's going on there, so we have to wait until next week. And then now I have a nutritional client who we're working on metabolic repair at the moment. So basically she's just asked me things like, is fat burners okay? Can I switch out chicken for beef and things like that, So it's just helping people learn about food slowly but surely so that they can make really good informed choices of their own. And something for fat burners, that a lot of people might not realize, or for caffeine first thing in the morning, this is one thing that I'm really against. And I generally try and tell people not to take it, because when you have caffeine really early, it actually upsets your circadian rhythm. So when you wake up and your parasympathetic nervous system is quite active, so you're quite relaxed, like you don't have the cortisol yet. As you kind of get up and start to get moving and the sun comes up and your brain recognizes that it's daytime, cortisol starts to really steadily rise, and then it'll peak around mid-morning. And then if you take a fat burner, which is generally caffeinated, or if you take a fat burner, then basically what you do is you actually causes cortisol to spike up before, and especially if you're doing it at like 6 in the morning before it's even light, you're really confusing the body's circadian rhythm. So my recommendation around that is like, yes, if you don't have a slump around lunchtime in the afternoon, but if not, and if you do find that you have a slump, then caffeine is probably messing with your circadian rhythm, and it's something you should definitely pull back on. After this one, and I've got another client, I'm sending her through flexible dieting videos so she can learn how to make her own meal plans. And yeah, that should be about it for the emails. And I'm actually then going to take a little bit of time out. So I've got 2 hours before my Zoom calls start. Probably actually just going to do a bit of meditation or something like that, something chill. So I'll get to it and catch you in the next clip. So I had my somatic therapist session yesterday. What we worked on was basically like a scenario I have with another person where I feel like really enslaved in the situation. So what we did was like, I feel into that situation and then I bring in all of these protectors, so people that can kind of have my back in the scenario. And then I kind of had like what you would call like an imaginary dialogue with that other person. And it's the kind of dialogue I probably can't really have in real life. And then towards the end, we did this process where I feel into feeling free. So I've always had this like feeling of not being able to be free, like in this society and in other kind of scenarios. I always feel like I'm trapped or enslaved in some way, and I kind of entrap and enslave myself all the time, and then feel like upset about it. So one of my nervous system reactions is actually to collapse. So when I get stressed, my nervous system actually will naturally just bottom out and I dissociate. And so that can make you feel like you're very enslaved. You feel like if something triggers me, I'm going to collapse. If something triggers me, I'm going to dissociate. And it's frustrating because you can be, like forging towards your goals and really excited and having a really great time. And then something triggers you and then boof, off you go. You're offline for like, when I was younger, it used to be months and months at a time. I get triggered all the time, wouldn't be able to manage it. But as I've gotten better with nervous system regulation, I'll be able to come kind of back online a lot sooner. So even yesterday it happened where I really, really stressed. I got triggered. I got really, really stressed, bottomed out, and then like an hour later I came back to normal. So yeah, heaps of progress there. But basically what I was doing with my therapist is feeling like how to expand into freedom, like what does it look like? And so I kind of see like green hills, a hinterland, a beach, like that kind of thing is what feels like freedom to me. And it feels like I can go at any time. And funny, like throughout the whole session, my feet were like shaking around. It's almost like my feet wanted to like go run there, like go run where the freedom is, go where the hinterland is, the beach and all that sort of thing. So then, yeah, feeling into that and trying to expand it. And then this weird thing happens where, I just call it my darkness. So, because I used to have depression and I feel some of that seeping in and kind of, you know, ruining it. But then at the same time, I have this realization that I'm so healed now that even if I did go somewhere like that and I was free and some darkness did come in, it's actually just going to be like a wave. It's just going to come in and it's going to go away. You know, it's not going to be there to stay. It's not going to drown me. I'm not going to sink into it like I used to. So now my homework is just to keep feeling into that. So yeah, keep imagining the freedom, keep expanding into that feeling so that I can create it in my life, because my neural pathways, if you know anything about neuroplasticity and stuff, they're all wired around feeling trapped. So I actually have to create the feeling in my body of being free in order for those pathways to be built. So, and if I don't do that, I will never feel free. Hey, so that's all for this video, something a little bit different. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week.